At Vibra Finance, we seek out the hidden gems in cryptocurrency. We will tailor your portfolio to work for you. Are you ready to transition your investments from traditional markets to cryptocurrency? Are your coins staked and earning interest? Are you overwhelmed with all the jargon in crypto? Is your portfolio underperforming and you want to reposition into consistent winning blue chip coins and viable projects? Do you feel like you missed out on DeFi, Metaverse, and NFTs? Here at Vibra Finance, we provide you with the data, skills, and tools you need to stay on top of the digital asset market. Vibra Finance. We are the future of crypto.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Vibra Live. And man, this markets feel like we're about to send it. And then we get a couple days of just sideways, nothing. And then we get Trump down at Mar-a-Lago, rags to riches, funding Jim down there, getting live updates from the president. He's bullish on crypto. Biden has no clue what it is. So hopefully this is the start now of something special. But regardless, we got our man Axis alive here tonight.
What up?
Always bringing that alpha.
Thanks for having me, man. Guys, this is probably going to take a lot of crazy turns. We just spent 15 minutes in the green room and we didn't even want to go live. We were just going to say screw it, but we're here for the folks. We decided, maybe we should actually show up and be accountable because that's how we do it out here on these streets. And, I do want to talk about two things mainly tonight. Well, it was going to be two things mainly, and now it's going to probably evolve into a spitball of other things. But we're going to talk a bit about Hedera because, well, you'll know it better than I, but the general idea that I have is that Hedera is basically bringing real-world assets to the blockchain. And then the element that I thought was interesting, too, was this Layer Zero company that's upgrading to a V2 that it's going to allow for like this multi-chain capabilities, and the V2 version is really simplifying the process so that devs can connect blockchains together much more simply and have like a full stack so that if I transact on ETH and I want to do something on Pulse Chain and then land on Hedera, I could do that in one transaction. And so that's a cool concept. And, I'm excited for a multi-chain future. And that, by the way, that doesn't take away from the magic of Pulse Chain and what's going on here. And that's probably where we'll land at the end, is that this chain is ahead of everything else and nobody even knows it yet in so many ways. And I didn't figure it out until I founded my own token. And it was just a simple send and receive token. But just seeing what was possible on a cheap chain blew my mind. And it made me realize that if something so simple could end up being so successful, imagine what you do when you get a team of devs behind you and can build on this new environment.
Yeah, bro. And that's the thing. It's just because I talk about other stuff, it doesn't mean that I don't love Pulse Chain. Like, I'm just as bullish on Pulse Chain as I am on the Hedera stuff, as I am on the Stellar stuff. I got 3 or 4 ecosystems that I'm just as bullish on because they all do different things. It's not like all 4 of them are games trying to become casinos and one of them's going to, survive. The others are going to fall out. Like, all these different things solve different issues, work on different problems.
Like they're trying to, each chain is trying to solve a specific problem instead of one world global computer that's going to do it all. We're heading towards a future where each chain is going to target a problem, solve the problem, and become super valuable for it. And that's how industry works. You can't have the same guy that mints metal out of the ground also build cars and houses, and you know what I mean? You can't have... So you need to decentralize all the different processes in a supply chain. It never made sense when you really think about it to have one money fits all type situation when you're talking in blockchain, and it doesn't work for the real world either.
Right. And that's, yeah, bro, I'm with you. And that's what the future is going to be so bright. Because right now, we're all on these almost like not walled off gardens, but we're on our own islands almost. And it is tough when you're on Pulse Chain. If you want to try to bridge out somewhere, it's not easy for first time people, but it's getting simpler. More options are coming. And once we have that ability to where you can just do a transaction and send it somewhere and I can have it show up on Hedera, have it show up on, whatever chain I want. That's going to be beautiful. And then, just some of the other stuff, I was telling you about the Bank Social the other day, the NFTs that had just launched. I'll just bring this site up right now since we're going to be going all over the place.
Yeah.
But this is a decentralized credit union, and they're tackling a bunch of different problems that the industry faces right now. If there's no IDs right now, you can't recover stuff. So the decentralized recovery they're working on, once we have our digital IDs that verify everything with one KYC, we're going to be able to hold our assets with them, and we're going to be able to put them into mutual funds, all kinds of different opportunities to earn yield on. The most important thing is they're not a sitting stuff. You have all your stuff on your ledger. That's great. You can hide it somewhere. You can make 4 copies of your seed phrase. But at the end of the day, you're in possession of that. If your crypto can be on a place like this where it's insured, no one can touch it. There's clawbacks built in case you do something wrong. And they're building out what I think is the future, where you have an AI system inside your wallet. And it's able to tell you if anything is a phishing scam, if it's not real. And it's basically a warning system for people so you can't get scammed. And I thought that was just so cool.
Yeah, well, this is exactly what, we got a guy in the boardroom over at accessalive.com. Goes by Yabs. You might have seen him on a recent RG3 Friday night F and Hangout stream. And it was like a week later, he decided we connected and he joined up. And I mean, he's all about bringing down the borders and the difficulty level so that you can get into this stuff and you can make a mistake and not get murdered for it, basically. And this seems like, I mean, look, I haven't done any research on this, but just the thought process of that this is where the industry is heading, it makes logical sense. It's the logical next step in the evolution of decentralized finance. So, I mean, I can get behind something like that. Do I think this is a one size fits all? Every crypto user is going to use this and need this? No, but if you want to onboard the world, you're going to need more and more tools like this to give people options and make sure that there is some sort of a safety net, so that if you can't lose $1 billion overnight, for example.
Exactly, bro. And like I've been doing consulting now for a couple of years. It's what I do every day. I'm onboarding people into crypto. So I see the problems when I'm like super passionate about something. It's like you see everything here. It's the best opportunity to invest in. And people just don't see it, or they see it and they're like, I don't know. I don't want to be responsible for that. I thought this was like technology. And you're telling me I need to potentially fake my death if it gets bad. And I'm like, yeah, if it gets bad, you wouldn't have to.
Yeah.
But, with stuff like this, certain people, they can say, all right, so I can just put my stuff over here and I can't lose it. I can't get hacked. I can't do anything wrong. And it's insured. Yup, it is. Okay, I'm in. And if I had that right now, a lot of people that I talk to would be in crypto right now versus being on the fence.
Yep, and I've experienced the same.
Mm-hmm. And this is just like one of the steps, with the AI system in your wallet. And they have their own app where you can keep your crypto in. Like, you don't have to move it into their accounts there that are KYC mandatory. But if you want to earn yield on them in the bear market, you're going to have to. But I have no problem with that stuff.
I'm cool with, tech in the space evolving. I want to see more safety measures. We've seen even people in our own small little community like Maddie trying to solve how to prevent a hack or reverse a hack. This type of stuff is institutional grade level stuff. And I mean, this is where it needs to go. And if it's multi-chain as well, then I mean, even better, right?
Right, and that's the thing. If we have our stuff on Pulse Chain, like with PDI, what's being built right there, that is changing the game. So I think there really is going to be a rift in the future where there's the TradFi part of crypto and then there's real DeFi. And I think it's going to be a very small part that's actually real DeFi. But we're taking over that niche of the market. And, with the reflection coins and liquidity pools and just earning on the PRC 20s, Pulse Chain's unique in so many ways. So if you can move profits from there instead of cashing them out and having to deal with that whole problem, if you can just move them with one app over to Hedera, some of your profits, and then you put it into some mutual funds or some equity funds, some real estate fund, whatever it is, or buy some, tokenized diamonds through the diamond standard they have on there, or the real world asset stuff. They don't really have like a marketplace yet with real world assets, but they're there's 2 or 3 apps that are coming for that in the future. So it's not quite there, but it will be in the future. And all the projects that are building on Hedera, they're legit because the HBAR Foundation, they don't just let anybody come build on that chain. There's a serious vetting project over there. So if you have the approval or partnership with the foundation, it's as good of a vetting process as anything out there. So it just narrows the process of like identifying good projects. You can just start with those little lists right there, and it's not that many. So after doing that,
I think you've told me that in the past maybe 6 or to 8 months with everything that's been going on with Hedera and like the HBAR price action as well, and like how it was like how there is definitely a politics to crypto now. So it wasn't just like Hex from last cycle that got ghosted and stuff. You're actually seeing that now with other innovators where they're getting sidelined or they're not getting recognition. But did you want to go into that a little bit just to explain like why you might not have ever heard of it, or like why you're not seeing the price action so everywhere or stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think just in a lot of the utility stuff or the better projects in crypto that are actually building and solving problems, they're not sexy. People don't really talk about them, but most importantly, they're undervalued. The stuff that's going to be at the top of the price chart in 2 or 3 years, they're not probably in the top 30 or 50 right now. Everything's going to completely flip. So everything I think is valued on hype and speculation and just nonsense right now. But that's going to change as we see assets come on the chain, and they're going to start to being priced on the amount of assets you have on chain, the volume on your chain. So actually real metrics versus whatever meme coin is the best on your chain, or that's all fun and games, but it's not sustainable. And with Hedera, when that came out a couple weeks ago, so one of the companies, ArcX, they are, I think, the biggest one of them or Aberdeen are one of the biggest money managers in all of the UK. And they took one of their BlackRock funds and they tokenized it on Hedera because they're a partner of them. And
this is
I guess, yeah, so CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, all of the different media sites out there got an official press report from ArcX and from BlackRock, what was approved to go out, and they chose to completely ignore it. And then they ran hit pieces out there saying it was all FUD. They were not working with BlackRock. BlackRock did not tokenize the fund on Hedera. And it was like, no one ever said that. Everyone said ArcX tokenized one of their BlackRock funds on Hedera, and they got full approvals and had a write-up on it from them that you guys totally ignored. So I saw that, and I had never seen it before. No one's ever talked about Hedera, and I wondered why. But then it was just instant hit pieces, and that just shows how scared they are because they know that's the future. And like the Bitcoin and the Solana and the nonsense
and
they're talking about
Bitcoin
now.
and ETH and Solana are all, it's comfy over there. Like those guys are comfy, but the foundation's shaking beneath them because real innovation is starting to crop up. Like imagine like a sidewalk that has cracks in it, and then grass starts to grow through the cracks. And if you let like a seed falls in there and a tree starts to grow there, it's going to totally blow that sidewalk up. That's exactly what's happening to crypto, except there's thousands of seeds and hundreds of cracks starting to show in the sidewalk. And I mean, that old sidewalk is getting dirty and old and cracked and rusted out. And look, guys, we're headed toward a multi-chain world, and that's kind of what Adam is so excited about, and his excitement spreads to me. And like, I am a pulse chain maxi. I love pulse. I can hardly say I'm a maxi anymore about anything, but I love pulse chain. I'm fully invested in that thing. And I do think that that is a huge piece of the pie, like the puzzle piece in the pie, and plays in nicely because all of these things that we're talking about, they play into why Pulse Chain will be even more valuable. But it's stuff that you just don't know yet, like because it's going under the radar. Anyway, I think in terms of like real world assets on the blockchain, it makes sense. Here's an exciting little angle we could take for a second. It makes sense that if some of the stuff that Rig Service is digging up is true about the 8th and 9th layer on the blockchain, and how that you can store value inside of a container, inside of a container, inside of a container, inside of a container, 8 or 9 levels deep, and avoid detection, you could actually start to create value, secretly on a chain, and that value could be Ethereum based, it could be, Bitcoin based, Wrap Bitcoin or whatever, or it could be like real estate, or it could be anything, because an NFT can really represent any kind of value because money is just fugazi. Like, so you can actually, the blockchain is more real than the money sitting in a centralized server, is what I'm trying to say. And it's really that the world, and this kind of goes philosophically now, conceptually, the world is about to flip that upside down, and we're gonna understand that the immutable ledger of the blockchain is more real and more permanent and more sound than any fiat centralized server money. And so, I kind of went a few levels deeper with this, but so something like Hedera, tokenizing a fund that's a BlackRock fund, right? Doing that and putting that on there, that's just like step one, and that's the public version of it. So what's going on with these Bitcoin and ETH billionaires that see the writing on the wall, these devs that literally created stable coins backed by crypto value? These guys they are manipulating, warping, and changing reality of what is real, what is money. They're changing the game. They're flipping the chessboard upside down on central bankers. And central bankers are like the old sidewalk. And all these kids are popping up and they're planting seeds all over. And this shit's about to blow up.
Mm-hmm. And well, like what you were just saying with like that 8th layer on Pulse Chain there. I mean, I wouldn't even say like it's like a secrecy layer. It's more of we have our right to do stuff without the public seeing it. So having these guys, whether it's devs or companies, test stuff, whoever it is, they have the God-given right to do that without me snooping around and seeing what they're doing. If you have a business and you're testing something, you want to bring it from where you are now into Web3 onto the blockchain, you should be able to test stuff, to run AI system, do whatever it is, gather whatever information you need without me and my friends snooping around there and watching your wallets and posting on Twitter every move you're making. So it's like that's ridiculous. There needs to be that layer of privacy there. And that's kind of a problem we face right now with like BlackRock. That's why, obviously, when CoinDesk and Cointelegraph came out, BlackRock didn't put that. Of course they didn't do that, because if they did it right now, you'd have how many people that have their wallet now? So they would just be copy trading BlackRock's wallet. It's like they would never be that stupid.
Yeah, right.
So it's just so funny how, we really are early and we're at just like scratching the surface where these guys are just starting to move stuff on chain. Hedera's got their diamond carat standard. So they're having diamonds. They have their AI company coming. So, karate combat here, this next fight is in Austin at Consensus. Like where of a better spot could you have this next fight than the biggest crypto meetup in the United States? And then they're also doing the influencer fights here too. So I don't know if it's at Consensus, the second round of the influencer one, but like where BitBoy fought last time, they're doing influencer round 2. Mm-hmm. I believe. I want to say they are. It's like Nick Carter and some other guy. But it's just it it brings people there. Everybody loves it. Everyone that I've told about it, that's watched the fights, that's bet on them because you can't lose. I mean, everybody's loved it. Nobody's been like, dude, this shit was so stupid. I mean, literally every person has been like, dude, this was awesome. Thank you so much for showing me this. I had a blast. I won a bunch of coins. So when I see that, like everybody says the same thing, I know that's something that's special. I don't get that very often when I show the same stuff to everybody. And maybe 3 or 4 of the projects out of the 20 or 30, everybody was like, "Oh, dude, that sounds amazing. I'm in."
Mm-hmm.
So those 3 or 4, I know then, okay, oh shit, those ones are special.
That's alpha that you get from the
everybody-
market, right? You're telling people that, you anywhere from experts, advanced to no coiners, and you're getting this feedback, and that's invaluable. And I think you deserve some recognition for that. I mean, can share the similar experience in my own, like running a group of 169 people right now. Like, I get to learn more from them just as much as they get to learn from me about like what people are into, what are they thinking, what are the questions they're having, where's the sticking points, what are people liking, and what's can be easier understood, or how can I explain something differently. That's all valuable stuff. I mean, like when people say in a year from now, when everything on Pulse Chain's up 100x, like, and they say, oh, Pulse Chain's a scam, but it's up 100, 200x. And it's like, you didn't work for it or whatever. Like, no, Adam and I were fucking out here working hard for it, dude. Like, it's been fun. It's fun to be able to wake up every day and do what you love. And I got all my members that I love those guys and girls, and it's a pleasure getting to work with you all too. So, and I'm sure Adam, same situation. You've probably met the whole gamut of different kinds of people, and crypto brings like the craziest different types of people together in so many ways. And it's a magical thing, man. It's definitely a peaceful takeover for sure. And it's awesome.
Yeah. And like our wealth group there's like 42 or 43 guys in there and a couple ladies. And not one person has ever complained. Everybody is super happy, super grateful that people are there to take their time to help them out. And like, that's what it's about. It's just everybody learning together. It's not just like, oh, I'm in here, these are the coins, you have to buy them or you're kicked out of the group. It's like, no, that's not how this works. Like, we're here to all grow together. Like, this is
yeah, I do
I'm
that
trying
too.
to get people to step back and take this as like a more of like an 8 to 10 year game, not just, oh, we're going to get rich in the next year and dump everything. It's like, okay, then what? Then you got to pay taxes. Then you got to reinvest it. Now you're stuck on this pretty much the same problem in 2 or 3 years down the road.
Yep. Exactly. Like you have to be playing crypto. If you're under the age of, I would even say 60, like you should be playing this game for a 10-year swing, because the gains are just so much better. And like, I mean, you're talking like generationally life-changing gains. It doesn't take a lot of moves, really. I mean, it does help to move things around and actively manage like the LP positions of your portion of your portfolio. But I mean, really, you could I do analysis for people, but my analysis is neutral and open. So like, I'm not telling people what to do. They have to decide what to do, which is an important part of cryptocurrency, because you are self-custodying and you do have to press the buttons, and you have to be accountable. The only thing I can do is help show you the tools, educate you, teach you how to use the tools. I can tell you what I'm seeing in the market, but ultimately you have to pick up the nuggets from what I'm doing, go learn from other people as well, and synthesize your own way of understanding the market. And this is like outside of the realm of what, most people want to do in the world when it comes to finance. They're not interested by it, and they just want money to come easy without any effort and work. And that's why like the 90% just don't quite break past escape velocity, where they've freed themselves of the system. But if you do put the time in, I mean, it won't take that long, maybe 2 years before you can act with a guy like Adam, or like, there's a whole bunch of people in Pulse Chain that you can go to for help. Crypto Coffee does like intro stuff. Obviously you got my group that's trying to advance, together, grow and advance together. Like with under somebody's wing like that's got 5-10 years of experience, it can really accelerate that path. And I know most of the people in here like listening are definitely in that boat where like you guys are mostly probably advanced, on the, at least for sure on the pulse chain stuff, and Ethereum for sure advanced in the how to do the stuff and how to make basic plays. But I mean, this game goes deep and it's exciting. I mean, it's like there's a infinite number of ways to play the game, and it just keeps getting better. Like the game, there's only more opportunity, and I keep telling people, Pulse Chain is like a gold rush right now. And this comment here, Pulse Chain, Hex Crypto, P Hex, E Hex, this guy's saying that he's talking about the Trump thing, B Roots, and then how the over 100 plus bonded burnt LP pairs that are tied into the Atropa deep web pumped 88% last night. And, whether that was because of some fundamental news event or not, I mean, the reality is that the whole Atropa ecosystem in particular is playing a very pivotal role in the rollout of what we're going to witness over the next couple of years. And so, I mean, it dumps 50% in a couple of days sometimes, but it just seems to always get back up and move. And there's so much opportunity in that liquidity web. It's like amazing to watch that thing up now, 5,000x on PDI.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. And I like that Chubb on Pulse there. He comes into the streams all the time. He's good. He's a good dude. And yeah, it's you just see it, bro, with what Sonny's built, with what Coach TG Zen, with Goo God, with Alien. I mean, this is a different way. It's DeFi 2.0, just like in 2020 when Hex created DeFi Summer. Well, now Pulse Chain, all these PRC20s, these reflection tokens, burning the LPs, all this stuff, different ways of just doing it. This is DeFi 2.0 without Richard. He's been here, but I think he tried to make those pairs with Link and Ave, and he fractured the community even more. They couldn't see what was going on, so it was horrible. So he had to pull them, I think, to stop the bleeding in the community, which was like I saw that, and that's what really frustrated me. It's like these guys are so far removed from what's going on. It makes me wonder, like, how many of them actually found Hex because they did research, or how many of them just stumbled into it by pure accident and then just were like the OGs or whatever because they were the only ones there, but they had no clue why Hex was doing good. They hadn't, it's kind of apparent now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's become clear maybe a year ago at this point. But
yeah.
But the Hex thing is funny because it was such a come up for so many guys that they just believed in a guy, right, Richard. It's a pretty amazing story if you think about it. But that's a lot of that kind of energy has to be washed out by now, don't you think? Like in their defense, the LP stuff was pioneered by Richard, and you can go back and watch stuff from 4 years ago that he was talking about. And I mean, we're just figuring that stuff out now after Pulse Chain launched, a lot of us. Silver the Antidote was one of the only community members that was public that was actually actively trying to educate people on LP on the Ethereum chain. But because the gas fees were so expensive, I mean, you're talking like $100 to start or exit an LP position. So like you couldn't even play the game over there if you were just getting started. And it was ridiculous. It was like now on Pulse Chain, like you can actually play the game, actively shift and move positions if you want, and it's not gonna, you don't have to account for less than a penny fee or a penny or 30 cents fees when you can get in and out of positions through LP providing, or there's run contracts, launch coins. Like this is just an amazing environment to be in, and in those guys' defense, it was a different game back then, and now the game has evolved, and the guys that put in the work, they're the ones that are winning the hardest right now. Even though the charts are going down, we're winning.
It doesn't matter, bro. It's at a certain point. Once you get it. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I was on stream with Coexistent Steven, and we were just like, just throwing stuff out, just shooting the shit back and forth, and I had created a bunch of pools just trying to learn with like a Tropa and PDI and some PRC20s, and my dumbass did them all on V1. I was like, you know what? I'm here for the community. I'm going to do these pools on V1. And, once these guys found out I did my pools on V1, they're like, dude, what the hell are you doing? And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, get on V2 and close those down. Stop. And I had no idea. But once I did that, maybe around like September, I set pools with like $10 on each side. And I looked at a couple of them now, and they have a couple hundred on each side now. And I haven't
Really?
touched them. I put $20 into each pool. Yeah. Yep. Because
damn
I
good.
started them early with dye, with a Tropa, and paired them up with like P Anchor and Fetch AI. That one's been booming. I
Yep.
got Fetch from the snapshot, and then bought more super early. So, that's probably done a 20x maybe. And
Hey, I like this chart you got up
they've
right
gone
here.
up so much. Yeah, the solid X chart. I know it's beautiful.
Oh yeah.
I got into it late, unfortunately. But
What was
able
late?
to,
Like a couple days ago, or?
Yeah, like literally, I knew about it, and Irwin made so much, and I was like, you know what, Irwin crushed it. Facing reality, I'm good. I'm gonna let it come back down. So I think I got it for like $75, maybe.
Okay, cool.
It was like a week ago.
So you're gonna at least you're probably gonna at least get a 10x, right?
Oh, bro, I think this thing is going, I think this thing is going to, my gut tells me it's going to like 33K.
Oh wow, that'd be higher than. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean that's a lot of numbers, but my early on I thought 1,500 wasn't off the table.
Yeah,
that's
I was
pretty
gonna
low.
say 3K.
You know what I mean? It's like, and so then your target's only just a 2x on that, which when things get parabolic, that can happen. So yeah, I'm obviously bullish, for obvious reasons.
Yeah,
Show me that
I would
fetch.
think so.
Oh, you want to show this one? This one's interesting.
Yeah,
the you have to go to the Pulse X pair. Well, I mean, I guess it don't matter based on what's happening now, but I'm sorry, the WPLS, but on the Pulse X V2 pair. So it'd be Axis WPLS on. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, when you really see this, I mean, that is just it gets pretty crazy. The range that it's trading in right now, like from the highs to the local lows, it is crazy. It's actually pretty. It's pretty much just been trading in the same. If you look at a monthly, I mean, it's pretty much just doing consistently. Like these monthly candles are going to tell you more than anything, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice, bro. That's up to 100K. Did you see that coming when you first launched it?
No, dude. How could any founder sit there and say that? Like, oh, my coin's going to go from sub penny to 100K. No, I didn't see that.
Like, what'd you realistically think? Like, all right, if this gets crazy, if like people just like FOMO in and just like play around with it.
I had no, dude. I thought maybe like $150 or maybe like $1,000 would be like interesting, because then maybe we'd get whale action. But when the price actually hit $100, and like based on the holder counts and how we're steadily climbing, at that point I knew that we could hit higher prices. Yeah. But when I launched it, I had no idea, to be honest. I didn't have any, I didn't promote it for so long. Yeah. So it's been a wild ride, and it's not done yet. Show me I wanted to see that fetch chart too when you get a chance.
Oh. Yeah, bro, fetch is I mean, so I got.
Oh wow, this chart looks amazing.
Yeah, bro. So I had some from like the snapshot, and it was like, God, bro, I don't even remember, but it was like 3 zeros.
This is forked, right, from ETH?
It's yep, the Fetch AI from ETH. Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about what you know about the PRC20 supplies? What we were talking about in the green room?
Yeah, so I'm in that the Pulse Trends and Sonny, all those guys in that Telegram group. And a couple weeks ago, I was in there and just scrolling through messages, and I remember because I have P Link. You know, that was one of the ones. If you guys were watching the streams, like that was when Pulse Chain first launched. Chris and I, we were talking. We were like, yeah, you know, we're gonna go after the blue chips right now on Ethereum, and that's where we started with like Link and Uniswap and Aave and Compound and Maker. So we just kind of happened to get into it. So it hasn't been doing much, but I was on here kind of just snooping around, and I was looking, and I was like, wait a minute, what happened? There's only 170,000 Link in here. I was like, wait a minute, that used to be like, I remember there used to be 500,000 or more in this pool earlier. And then I went and I was like, okay, so I just didn't think anything of it. And then I was in that Sonny's group, and he was saying, yeah, so apparently all these coins that they used to have 100 times more supply over on Pulse Chain, now all of a sudden they're equal on a lot of them on to what they are on Ethereum, and nobody kind of knows what happened. Sonny, he thinks somehow he did like a fork real quick and played with the decimals somehow. I think I'm not sure what exactly it was, but yeah, a lot of these PRC20s now don't have insane, you know, supplies of millions or hundreds of millions of more coins as they do on Ethereum. So they're now pretty much in parity, which is wild to me. Yeah.
Yeah, the mechanics of that is like questions I have for whoever's doing the research is like, how did they, you know, it could be as simple as they bought them but it's something else. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I know Richard owned almost 90% of them or something, or he was going in before it launched and was buying them up. And that's what I think a lot of the liquidity pools were too, that were in like those scam airdrop things that he had built in there when he was pairing all those things up. It was to liquidity pools for all these PRC20s, and that he was going to come through and do something with them, I would assume, so he could accumulate them all before it launched over on Pulse Chain. But I mean, yeah, dude, this thing is done like, I mean, I don't know, what's that, 100x from, but by the time I realized it, so I noticed I had my copy, and then I didn't really pay attention to it until maybe September when it started to pump again. I was like, whoa. And then it dumped all the way back down again. So I loaded up. That was like right around it was like on my birthday. Yeah. On the 19th right there. I remember it. So I was able to get a bunch of I wish I just went crazy, bro, but I didn't understand it back. So when you're going and if you have a coin like this, like, so you're going and you're buying it, and all of a sudden you're getting just all kinds of slippage warnings, low liquidity. All you got to do is just buy as much as you can. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Those are the opportunities. When you can buy coins like that, that's the best time to buy them. I promise you, because those coins, even though I was able to get probably 55% of what I would if there was liquidity in there, what they're worth now compared to, you know, the slippage amount, it's astronomically more. So it's worth it to pay that. And when you see that, you know, or when you're like hesitant, man, I don't know this coin, I'm so early, it just doesn't look right, I don't know, that's the opportunity. That's when you need to be buying the coins, just like Bitcoin. Richard always says it. When was the best time to buy?
When it's the most scary is when you have to buy. That's right. Question for you on this one, and this, you can take this to any of the copied tokens. Is there liquidity routes that you can actually get something on the other side of the pair, or is there, like, does it fetch? Is it paired with anything deeper, like, or is this the only? Because my big personal concern would be having routes to swap it for something else. If it's up 100x, but I can't get anything out of it, then you're basically waiting for the day when this is the magic, right? The part we don't know, but we think we know, is when eventually Ethereans capitulate in and they bring their coins over and pair them 1-to-1 with PRC20s at parity. That's like the magical note there. But until that happens, like, I'm just curious if there's routes for some of these coins.
No, it all, if there's no liquidity over here, there is nothing you can do. You know, it's just a matter of time. I mean, I don't know why I can't even find my pool. So like I set up maybe it's Pulse X fetch. Yeah, I don't know why. So I set this up. I put like, I don't know, maybe a couple $100 in it, but I don't know why it's not showing up on here. So I just created a liquidity pool, and I set the ratio to whatever, you know, whatever it was, the same that the Pulse equivalent to the Pulse and Fetch one at the time. And I just started it. I created like maybe 5 or 10 liquidity pools with Fetch, with PulseX, with Ink, with Rat Bitcoin, with both hexes, and maybe a couple of Sunny's coins. And I just did that to try to create the bots and grab all the different prices for all different pairs. And then the bots start coming around and it starts kicking up volume. And who knows, you know, it's just a way to get things going potentially. And all of a sudden in the last like couple weeks, this thing has really taken off. I mean, it's done like I don't know, 7x, 6x.
Yep. So I mean, that's a lesson for anybody that's listening in, that you know, the game is no longer like just hitting the green or the red button anymore. Like there's just so many different ways to play, and even just in the category of LP providing, there's multiple different tools, and then inside of each one of those tools there's like literally 5 or 10 degrees of different strategies you can do. The strategy that Adam's talking about is literally just take like 3, 4, or 5 coins and pair them in different configurations with each other. You know, coin A plus coin B plus coin C plus coin A types of routes. And then like these bots will just arbitrage these routes. And if the prices of one goes up, eventually there's a reversion to the mean and the other one comes up to try to meet it. And you end up with more of everything over time. The longer you let that stuff ride, the more it gains in value together. And ultimately, you know, you could hear all this stuff about impermanent loss, but when you're taking like little plays like this, that's bootstrapping the network, your goal is just to end up with more value than you started. And so it sounds like it's been a successful experiment for you.
Yeah, definitely. But you know, for a lot of the ones that there was really nothing there, I think it's more because PDI and Atropa and some of those other coins did so well that it's just dragging the value of the pool up astronomically. But that was the whole point, you know, to earn more value in those pools, whether it was through transaction fees or through just the value of the pool rising because one side started to pump. You know, I look at it, it's like kind of another way of hodling. If you holding these coins in your wallet, you know, why not make LP pairs where if you know you're holding both sides, who really cares? As long as it's near the bottom of the market, I mean, what do you really have to lose? Especially if it's not like you're pairing one coin up that's at rock bottom and something that's just pumped up 100x, and you're going to pair those two up together.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, yeah, that
don't do that.
Don't do
that.
Yeah. Oh man, what Pulse Jet? What do I think about the chart on this? I mean, yeah, dude, it's just a small coin, 28M, 3K liquidity. I mean, I like it. You know, obviously ignore that, but yeah, it looks like you went sideways for a week or two, and now you're consistently going up and to the right. So as long as you're, you know, I would just try to add more LP, and instead of doing it with Pulse, you know, maybe do it with like Ink or with even like I really like A1A for some reason, just because all the pairs with every PRC20, it's almost like you're getting exposure to all of them. Yeah. So I think once Pulse Chain starts to pump, I think certain coins are going to really start to separate themselves.
That's probably a good. You're probably helping me too, because this question people ask me, like they want to start their token, and then the question becomes like, you know, how do you do it? And I guess a lot of that I have to ask another question back, which is like, well, do you have your goals clearly defined? Because everyone's goal is different, whether they think it or know it or not. But in this case, like if you just make a pair early on with A1A, you're actually going to get activity on your coin that if it's just against Pulse, you might get no activity. But if you pair with
Right.
A1A, it will, especially if you pair a loop between A1A to B2B to your coin and back again, or A1A to Pulse to your coin and back again. Like it'll loop, and that those bots are going to arbit for sure. So
That's a good point too. Is I should have said that there too, because I like that part too. Is if I make if it's a coin like that and I did an A1A pair, it's say I had like $2,000, I would rather do what he just said and create an A1A pair, a B2B pair, and just put $1,000 into each of them instead of doing a $2,000 pool. Just go a little bit lighter, but make sure you have two of them, the A1A and the B2B, because for some reason it just always has volume. Sonny figured out something truly special and unique with his ecosystem.
Yep, that's a good way to get some volume in your coin without you having to put up the nut.
Exactly. And just little things like that can really be the difference in you just absolutely crushing it this cycle, where a small coin like that, even 3K liquidity right now, yeah, that's not much, but Pulse Chain does a 10x. Now you have 30K in there. Now you're talking. Now you have something. And then, you get creative with it. Maybe, you pull a little out of that and boost up the A1A pair it with a Tropa. I mean, there's different ways you can do it where, you can just create that volume. And honestly, I think Coach X is the best at that. And he's the one that I talk to if I have questions, or I'm asking him, what do you think about this? I mean, he's been doing it with PTGC, with 808 and Burn and Liquid, and his new coin there, Stimulus or whatever. I think Stimulus Stimulus. So he understands the LP pairing. I mean, he just does it a little bit differently than Sonny. Like they're both experts, but just in kind of doing it a little bit differently. But between learning from both of them, it's like it's the best of both worlds.
100%, man. Yeah, there's some cool builders on this chain, and we all we're learning from each other,
And that's a beautiful thing. There's so many people that are willing to help out, that want to learn. And it's like, I'm here to help people. Like I get, people will like DM me and then we'll talk for a second. They'll be like, hey, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm bugging you. And it's like, no, don't feel like that at all. Like I'm here every day. If you don't have that ability because you have a job or whatever's going on, like it's like my obligation to tell you, like, if I'm able to sit here every day and absorb it all, like I can take 2 seconds and help you out. Like that's just wrong to not do that.
Yeah, buddy. Well, we're coming up on an hour. I probably got another 15 since we started late. What else do we want to talk about? This is the DEX on Hedera, right? The saucer swap.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Saucer Swap is the DEX over there, and the volume is going up like crazy. They have the liquidity pools over here are
sick.
I
like this interface.
They're completely different than Pulse Chain, but so I have, with the pre-sale for this coin, you had to buy these NFTs, and then that got you a certain amount of tokens. But if you got a full set, you got a fourth NFT, the electromagnetic one, and that gives you a bonus, and it's called the Larry reward. So it adds at the end of the month, they have a giant pool that they collect, and they give those rewards back to the NFT holders. So they have a pair here. Look at this, the USDC pair, and it pays up to 19% APR if you have the Larry NFTs. So this next bear market, I'm going to take a bunch of profits from Pulse Chain, wherever. I'm going to send them over with these new apps that are coming, one click over to whatever chain, because moving around is going to get so much easier. Interoperability is going to be a breeze. And it already is for certain chains, like going from ETH to Base or some of these other L2s. It's super easy. And it's going to be like that for all the different chains in the future. So like next bear market, instead of cashing out and trying to buy some real estate or whatever as an investment, I'm going straight to this USDC pool, and I'll get my Larry rewards on top. And even if this cuts down half and I can earn up to 10% on stable coins, that's not bad at all to me.
So is that a native Is that a native USDC to Hedera and then
The
and then a
Hedera,
bridged in one?
yes, yeah. This is the Hedera token service one. So there's two of them. The
Gotcha.
native exactly, and the bridged in, just like on Pulse Chain, where you can pair up PDI and DI.
Yeah, dude, that's gonna get so. But yeah, but how do they? So it's just that the mechanisms are different with that. So
Yeah,
how we're getting ours
it,
to peg is completely unique from how that one got pegged. But that one's pegged by because it's backed by collateral or something.
yeah, it's a little bit different, and like this.
Interesting.
So with liquid staking, right? So Saucer Swap is the Pulse X. So when I take my Saucer Swap and I stake it, I get X sauce, and that X sauce goes right into my wallet, and it's ratioed. One X sauce is worth like 1.22 sauce. So as it's staked, I just keep earning more X sauce into my wallet. And then I can just swap it or sell it. So I don't ever have to unstake again if I don't want to. I can just sell it right out of my wallet. And I could then take it and say, all right, I'm going to unstake half of it. And I'm going to just pair it up because they trade pretty at the same ratio always. They don't ever move. I can throw those two into a pair. And then H bar and H bar X. And then the USDC pair. So, one of them, you find the best ratios and you can earn almost 10% over here. And I just think it's cool. It's just a little bit different than Pulse X, but they found ways to make it juicy.
Yeah. So to your point about the end of the bear or the end of the bull and making those decisions about going back into the real world, like with your capital and doing real estate or not. This is a conversation that I had with Corey and Dane the other day. And they said that 12 to 15% is like the target that they're looking for ROI on, and all they have to do is put the capital up. That there's no management, they're not purchasing the property themselves. They're not doing any of the work. They don't have to deal with tenants. That's all handled. But you just get you have your input cost or your input investment, and then you're just making back, let's say 15%. But what we're saying is that you could technically stay in crypto and not have to deal with any of that bullshit and earn 15 to 20% on a stable pool, stable to stable, and preserve your value and just earn 15% for 2 years while we're in a bear market. And then when things start looking good again, just come back in and clean up when things are down 85%.
Yeah, and typically a bear market means the recession sucks. So if you can make even 8% in the bear market when everyone else is getting -4, you're crushing it. Like when
Or minus 85%.
Yeah. Your goal is to literally just preserve and stay even when it gets bad. You don't even care about making money. You just want to, you don't want to lose. And that's a great way. And like this is another one that I've been paying attention to, this Galileo protocol. They're working with Quant and LCX Exchange, which is going to be one of the chosen exchanges. But they have like high-end NFTs that are programmable. And they're all these luxury Gucci bags and purses and sunglasses and all kinds of stuff. But what's cool is it prevents the black market. You can't counterfeit stuff. And they have diamonds on here, bro. They got all kinds of stuff. So like these are other ways where you can buy, actual bricks of platinum or gold that have diamonds inserted into them. And then they mail you the bar. So you know exactly how much it's worth. And it's never going to really move from the value of the metals and the gems inside of it. And so there's multiple ways where, you could even buy, if you know what you're doing with like a Rolex watch or something. If you spend 15, 20 grand and get something that is going to increase in value because it's a very short made watch or something like that, or someone that's not just a real common or whatever. I'm not too sure, but there's a lot of different ways out here where you can, buy NFTs. You could even come here and buy a Ferrari, bro. Like they have all kinds of stuff with art and Ferrari, high-end cars, watches, bro. It's crazy. So this is just like one of the things that I've been paying attention to for a couple years.
Is this so when they're saying this, is this basically putting, like, let's say if you're talking a car, are they putting the pink slip on the blockchain and then that's transferring ownership of it?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. Everything. Yeah. Like you have to there's like a
Probably
company
like
that
a
does it.
KYC element in a company. Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. You have to like bring your Ferrari to the company that they work with to put them on chain and tokenize and all that. So I think you would drive your car like to that place, and then they take it from there, do everything to get it on the blockchain, verify it, authenticate it, all that stuff. And then once that's done, they have these goggles you put on, and you put them once. So if you're not near the car and you want to look at it, the pictures and stuff, the scans they take are so realistic. When you put these goggles on, like the new Apple ones, you can see the car like right in front of you as if you were standing there in front of it. So you can really like, you can almost like walk up to it and like look to see if there's a crack or a little scratch on the car. It's that good, they say. So it's really cool, bro. Like this stuff is going to take off in the next couple of years.
A lot of money to be made here.
Yeah,
I'm sure
dude.
that we'll see more builders on Pulse Chain like not take this or a different route, but just you're going to see more and more real world assets come to the blockchain for sure. Like that makes logical sense. Like real estate's a perfect thing. Like why wouldn't you tokenize real estate and let people buy portions of it? I mean, these ideas were floating around in 2017 during ICO mania. You remember that? And now NFTs kind of is a way to solve that problem. And there's other, I remember a chain. I can't remember the name of the chain. It was like literally, actually it was an ERC-20 that was supposed to do supply chain management stuff. And who knows if that ever turned into anything. I don't hear about it anymore. But it's like now all those ideas are actually getting implemented.
Yeah, what do you think? Is it going to take just time?
Yeah, I'd say within 7 years you're going to see, and regulation. Like the regulation has to cause so you get a Trump presidency, regulation gets solved, and we have rock solid, concrete laws around it that harbors innovation instead of pushes it away, and you're going to see thousands and thousands of Web 2 devs go to Web 3. And it's just going to be going to be a gold rush around blockchain and DeFi. The writing's on the wall. We just need to get past this sticking point. The uncertainty.
Dude. Yeah, bro. Yeah, exactly.
And we need the BTC and ETH maxis to get off their high horse and fucking help the process instead of trying to stuff it down.
So, David, if you have Hashpack wallet, that's the HBAR wallet. There's a way when you download the wallet, I believe there's a setting in there that you can click and you can get a MetaMask address for your HBAR stuff. So yes, there is a way to do it through Hashpack wallet for sure. So, all right, Axis. Well, I know you're a busy man. We'll be going almost an hour. Probably a good time to stop right here. Appreciate you coming on, man. We'll definitely have to do it again because there's so much happening, bro. Like you see the picture here. It's gonna be a multi-chain world. It's not gonna matter where you are as long as there's value on that chain. There's a community there, and there's assets on chain. You're good to go. You're not gonna have to worry. You'll be able to move around seamlessly from chain to chain, and we're not gonna be like it is now, taking a week to bridge off a chain or no.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing I'll leave you guys with is there's a group of people that have been diving deep and researching about the Pulse chain and what's been going on. Why is Richard quiet? Who's building what? All this mystery, clouded mystery around, the PRC-20s and why was he always talking about that? And then why did he talk about making his own stablecoin in his own wallet? And how deep does this vertical integration really go? And Adam and the Verse and Coexistence Steven and the OG researchers like Nine Iron Capital, Hunthodonomics, and I mean, there's a whole list of them. And now Riggs popped up. Like, there's a whole bunch. Ben Potvin comes to mind. Freedom 777, Hexecutioner, like in the LP side of things. I mean, there's a whole list. I don't want anyone to feel left out, but there's so many people that figured this out, that there's so much more going on here on Pulse Chain than what you think you see. So if you're just sitting on sack bags right now, and Pulse and PulseX, and you haven't done anything for a year, and you're mad, like, which probably is nobody listening to this stream, but maybe you guys can go help these guys understand that things are about to really start picking up in the next 6 months. And I have never been more bullish on Pulse Chain. A year ago, I was bearish on Pulse Chain. I thought it was crazy to go up against Ethereum, but I didn't understand. I didn't understand what was going on, what the mission was, and how deep this went, and how much resources and influence and development horsepower that Richard can and could have behind him to make this chain just be front and center of DeFi. I keep saying that. So I'm excited to see everybody at the Pulse Chain conference this weekend, with Maddie all in, and hopefully we can reveal a little bit more as we get through the weekend, and hopefully we'll see some massive pumpage, because it looks, the chain's looking pretty good right now. Pulse is like trying to do a double bottom here at key critical levels here. So very, very excited for not only just what's going on under the hood, but also the price actions finally starting to show a sign of strength. So thank you very much for having me, Adam. And I'm looking forward to doing this again.
Yeah, bro. Appreciate you coming on. You guys give Axis a follow. I'm sure almost every one of you are. But for some reason, if you're not, give him a follow. He's one of the best TA guys out there. I'll put him up against Jenkins any day of the week. So smash that like button, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yep. Thanks, Lynn.